All right, guys, I'm finally back on here making a new video. It's been a little hectic. I got a newborn and I got a new shop, so it's been a lot of running around and dealing with family and work and stuff like that. So finally, I had the opportunity to make a video, and I am finally making a video on my truck. This is my baby right here, and so just a quick overview on this truck. I bought this truck when I was 18. There was a local public works that was selling it, or they were going to scrap it, and my brother was working there, and they said that they will sell it to me. So I had purchased it for the scrap price, which was $250. I got a frickin' OBS for $250. It's got a 5.8 351 Windsor with only 100,000 miles. That's nothing. And so it was a steal, and I love it. The only thing was it didn't have a bed. The bed rusted out, through all the years of them using it. They had salt and all the material that they use whenever they're doing municipal stuff. So brought the truck home, and I had to sit down the driveway, and I figured, why don't I just screw with the truck? I have nothing else to do, and I always wanted to lift the truck, or a monster truck at least. And my oldest brother came over and suggested, why don't we go big, which in other terms goes stupid. And that's what we did. So I had 37-inch tires that I got from a guy at work. He was just getting rid of them, and I brought them home and figured, hey, why don't I just put those on there? 37s are huge, right? Everyone does 33s. I've done 33s, but why don't we do 37s? That was like the biggest thing I could think of, But my oldest brother found the tires we have on here now, and he bought them and brought them home. They were from Desert Storm. They came off a deuce and a half. They were 46.5-inch tires, and they're made by Michelin, and they're 24 ply, so they're thick. They're bulletproof, they're flow proof, and obviously stab proof. And so I know they're old, but they got a lot of meat on them. So we had those at home, and we had no choice but to try to figure out a way to fit them under the truck. And I'll show you on there what the truck used to look like. So we went ahead and we found a guy in North Carolina. He does work like this, custom work, and he got it up, and he got it running for us, but he made a mistake along the way, and that's why we're here today making this video. We're gonna fix the mistake. So I'm gonna show you what he screwed up on. I'm not trying to be rude about it, but he did screw up on it, and what we need to do to fix it. So let's dive right in. All right, so we're gonna get into what went wrong with this truck, and what we're gonna need to do to fix it. So what happened was, everything else was great. He got the truck. It used to be independent front suspension. This is a two-wheel drive vehicle. I still got to do all the changing out, transfer case, all that stuff. But I needed to get it up in the air first, and I needed a solid axle. So what I went ahead is found, there was two different guys online I found. They were selling these axles. The one guy was selling the front. The other guy was selling the rear. There were 350 axles. They're actually from 7.3, which I've owned one of those. Those trucks are great, but they got their problems. So I got solid axles in the front or solid axle in the front and obviously in the rear, but the 350 instead of 250, which that's what this truck was. Originally was a 250. So he went ahead and he put, I guess you call it the shackle reversal kit, but it's kind of different from what you would find online because the shackles are usually found in the rear, which I'm going to go over that real quick. On trucks, shackles are always on the rear side of the leaf spring. But since I told, like I said to you guys, this guy specialized in crawling with Jeeps. He made it in the way that he would for those vehicles, which Jeeps, their shackles are in the front. And you can argue with me. I'm not here to argue about it. I understand. But I went over and did a lot of research on it. A lot of people say no, yes, but with the shackles being in the front, they give more of a down pressure on the axle when you have them in the front. So when you're crawling on a trail and you're approaching a boulder, a stump, a falling down tree, and you're gonna crawl over something like that, its intentions were for that leaf spring to push down on the front, which gives you grip on your tires so you can grab whatever it is you're trying to get over. Versus with the shackles being on the rear side, it absorbs the whatever the obstacle is that it's taking on. So it won't give you as much traction. So that's why they do that. A lot of people say it doesn't really make a difference other than the fact that it makes the ride smoother or not as smooth. So if the shackle's in the front, you're obviously going to take on whatever you're going to hit, In the rear, you're going to more absorb that hit. So that's why with this truck, it's going to be a little bit more rough of a ride. But I think I'm going to end up adding a dual shock, which should help, at least absorb some of that. I only have a single shock right now, which it works. I don't drive this truck often. It's just for fun. So what I'm going to have to do is, the problem that we really ran into was that he had put the bracket on wrong. He had put it on backwards. So I have to come in and cut it off, and we're going to have to refab it to face the other way so that it can release, because it wasn't releasing before. It was compressing and it wasn't going back to where it should have to keep the truck up. It compressed and it stayed in the truck, and I'll show you a picture on there. It was staying on the frame, so this eyelid of this leaf spring was on the frame. That's not good. It's not working properly. So what I did for the time being was I welded it in place to keep the truck up, which don't ever do that. You're not supposed to do that, and I know that. So you don't have to tell me. I know some people may comment that. So I want to finally fix it and make it right. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it, we're going to refab it, and put it in the right way. Equal out the distance, like the rears to the fronts, and allow for it to move freely, which it wasn't doing before. And the reason why you don't ever want to do that where you weld it in place is because now all your absorption of your, I'm saying that wrong, but whatever, when you're absorbing a hit, a pothole, a bump, anything, right? And now that the leaf springs are not working properly because I welded them, well, all that hitting and all that, the bumps and everything was taken and it was transferring all that to my ball joints, which I'm very blessed that I didn't break a ball joint and lose my tire, which I'll show you. I almost did that. And that's why a lot of it was shaky. And then also too, if I didn't do that, my knuckle here for my steering coming down from my pitman arm would have broke. So we're gonna have to, like I said, redo that, bring that up. I found a kit that will do that and allow it to move freely without taking too much stress. So I'll show you, I'm gonna bring the camera in, we're gonna go over what's going on in here and how we're gonna change that. Okay, so like I was saying, let's see if it will do it. This tire is moving too much and the ball joints are broke. So that's what happens when you weld a shackle in place, which no one ever does that, but I did that. And then also here, this is taking too much. Look at it, I'm overextending that. It's taking on too much stress. So we're going to get a kit that I have from this company. You gotta take the whole spindle out, and they are going to machine it so that it doesn't attach down here. Instead, it's gonna attach above the leaf spring, and the bracket will be on top. So it'll be up higher so that it gives that ability to move. So we won't have stress on that. We'll have our steering, and we'll be able to use the original steering. I looked into uniball steering with the knuckles on the ends. Problem with that is they don't hold grease, and you got to constantly grease them, and they're actually illegal in a lot of areas because they're not safe. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to stick with the original. And then I'm going to buy a Panhard kit, which is a track bar, and it bolts where the power steering gearbox is. I believe it uses the same bolts. You bolt it on the outside with a bracket, and it runs a track bar across to the top on this side over here of the axle. And that'll help, obviously, with the stability in the front. And then I'm going to put dual stabilizer shocks in the front, which will help with any swaying that I had before with the tires, because they're bigger tires, and they will go wherever they want to go. So we want to make sure that we can keep them under control when we're hitting a lot of bumps. Yeah, and I got these jacks from Harbor Freight. They're 49.5-inch minimum. They go up higher. So I had to find a way to put them on there, and I did. So, but yeah, so we want to make sure that this shackle is going to stay up and that the leaf spring will, settle back to where it needs to be to keep the truck up. So that's what we're going to be doing. You guys hopefully stay tuned, and I'm going to keep going over as we start fabbing up this whole bracket here, and we will get into that and see how this thing goes, and I'm excited about it. We're going to start ordering parts, getting all the new bushings and stuff. So
Yeah.
We did a very quick overview on this front here, so just stay tuned. I'm going to keep making more videos as the lift progresses with fabricating it and making a new one. If you have any comments, anything you want to say, like and subscribe though. Definitely comment and let me know if there's anything you're working on. Even put pictures in there of what you're working on, and that'd be cool. I want to see. I'm always into seeing what everyone else is doing. I respect what other guys got to do because, you know, at the end of the day, you're working on your stuff and it's yours. You know, you have pride in it. I know there's gonna be a lot of people on there that might say a lot of bad things. That's okay. You can add that on there too. I don't care. I like seeing what everyone has to say. But definitely come back. I got a lot of videos coming up, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.